what I would love for you to share with us is sort of what were your challenges before we met? What was like your life, your current, like your sort of your day-to-day before we actually met, and the challenges that led you to me?
Okay, yeah. I am working with my two friends. Well, one friend that I've known for quite some time, and the other is, her partner. And before this, they had tried with someone else to be able to have to have a child, and I guess it didn't work out for whatever reasons. And so I had like kind of offered before I knew things weren't going well, that if they ever needed my help, that I would be able to do that. And Yeah, they decided to, have me help them have a child and donate. And I thought that I was doing okay. I thought that like my sperm health would be fine. And we actually did like a sperm analysis back in July of 2023. And the results were actually really kind of surprising, because they were low on like all of the levels, I think, except for like one, which was like the amount of like semen. And so that was like a really surprising result. And so I had to basically go get checked out at the doctor, and we started doing like some like pills, to kind of help with my sperm health. And there was some uh a little bit of advancement in that, but basically, with some of the tests like from my doctor and everything like that, just showed that there needed to be work done. And so that's kind of how um Courtney, I guess, kind of found you. And that's kind of how we kind of crossed paths, because I thought that I was doing well. I worked out, I'm a dancer. And I ate okay compared to, I feel like, what a lot of people these days eat, like, hot Cheetos and, burgers from, like, I didn't really do a lot of like, fast food, although I did. And I ate pretty well. So yeah, that kind of what brought me to you, because I got a result that was kind of surprising, and we had to kind of figure out where to go next.
Okay, gotcha. And then what was your first impression in meeting me? You're not gonna hurt my feelings, be honest.
I actually didn't know what to think at first. I just kind of wanted to be able to come in and do whatever I needed to do to help. And So I was kind of just very open, to see what was going on. And um, Yeah, I think I don't know if I had anything like towards the good or the bad. Like I liked, your warmth and all of that kind of stuff. But I feel like the first time I actually met you was when me and Courtney kind of had like our dual thing, and we were answering questions and things like that. And that was just kind of like a little nerve-wracking, just because like I was answering these questions in front of somebody else, and I don't know. It was a lot, but because some of them were a little personal, but yeah, I think that was my first thing. I didn't really know what to think. I was kind of open to see where this was going to take me, and yeah.
Okay. And then where did it take you?
So, Lord, a lot of work, a lot of work. Um, Basically having to pay attention to what I was eating. Um, uh, I know you had basically take a look at the tests, the extensive tests that I took with my doctor. And there were a lot of like issues. And I feel like what we had kind of found out a little bit before I had met you was that, and I kind of already knew, but like part of the issue was I hadn't been to like a dentist in like 10 years because I lightweight have like an irrational fear of the dentist. And I had to go get like a cleaning, and I found out there was like I don't remember the name of like the kind of like disease or whatever, but that was kind of starting to happen. But that's one thing I found out through this process is that sperm health is connected to like everything, especially like oral health and things like that. So basically learning a lot about that, like how sperm health is having to do with everything in your body and how that kind of works together. Had to figure out like that I wasn't eating the best as I could have. Even though I did decently, wasn't eating enough, going through having to take different pills, to make sure to like get the imbalances and all that kind of stuff, and also mental stuff because we definitely went through some things. Like I know I told you once I had like cried in the shower and had like a little breakdown at one point just because I was just like ashamed of like the fact that I was going through this, and they're paying for a lot of this, and so having to kind of get across the emotional like work of just like realizing that this is a part of going through this infertility journey and all that kind of stuff. So a lot went down from what November until now. And I feel like I've really enjoyed working with you because you've been very patient. I've learned a lot about um, what is that? Fasting, and how that helps with sperm health, and like just like helping the body like reset and getting the different nutrients and stuff. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but I enjoyed it. Yeah.
What was the most surprising thing about the nutrition piece that you learned throughout this experience?
um I think as far as nutrition and I guess my own body, is I feel like the you said the most surprising thing I've learned?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The most surprising thing that I've learned is that I think it just how much work it is to actually eat right, and and get the right portions and get all of the nutrients that you need. Like, I feel like it's damn near impossible in the days and the times that we're in to kind of just like eat correctly so that your body has everything to operate at the like optimal, you know, capacity so that, I can be as fertile as possible for this process. I think that was the most surprising thing, just because again, like I thought I was all good in the hood. And then the results came, I was like, well, damn. Like, so I think that was like probably one of the most surprising things. Oh, and also because I like was on your Instagram and I like, saw some of the things too, is that like male reproductive like sperm health is so much lower. I don't know how much lower, but like than it was, like, decades ago, and it seems to be going down. And so that was like a thing that, I found surprising as well. So I feel like those are the two things that I learned. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. That when I came across that statistic, that surprised me as well. You're talking about the stat that states that most men today would have been considered infertile a few generations ago. And it's because the sperm count has decreased by so much now. But what keeps happening is we keep lowering the standard for sperm count. And so what a lot of people think is normal is actually what we consider here in functional medicine when we're looking at optimal levels is subfertile, right? And so sometimes it's not enough for it's not enough for natural pregnancies. I think that's what you were referring to. And so I'm happy you pointed that out. I am curious to know, like, I know you came in also with some other goals, like, weight gain, like you wanted to kind of like work on like your body transformation. Like, what was that journey like for you?
I really appreciated that you worked with me on that because I think at first you were just like, we're gonna have you not work out. And I don't remember why that was. I think I don't know if it had to do with like stress and things. You didn't want me to stress out or something, but I was like, oh no, I've been trying to like, work towards, gaining weight and muscle. And I think back then I was probably around like 170 something, like 172, 173. Um, but like you came back the next session and you were just like, actually, I thought about it. And we're actually gonna put you on a little workout plan. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I appreciated that you kind of worked with my uh lifestyle to kind of, get me to move further along in my goal in gaining weight, which now, because you put me on your like workout routine, like I'm up to 180, 182, and I'm like steadily there. And that's another thing with the whole like eating thing, like you're just like, you're not eating enough. You're not eating enough. I'm just like, oh Lord. I think that was another surprising thing that I learned is that, which goes along with like, finding out that it takes a lot of work to be able to get the nutrients you need is that I wasn't eating enough. So like really paying attention to all of that so that I can eat more and get the, stuff that I need. So I really appreciated the fact that you worked with me and gave me something that I can continue on with and continue to build that muscle.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you came on in one session and you had a sleeveless shirt and I saw your biceps and I was like, who's this? Okay, I see you.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on them little chicken arms.
Definition was all there. You're covered up today, so the people can't see the arms. But Brandon came in that session swole. I was so happy to see that. Was there anything that like you were not expecting for us to work on that you were like pleasantly surprised about? You were like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think two things. One was the fasting. That was one thing that I wasn't really expecting. Just because I really had never really like fasted like on a regular basis. So I really knew the health benefits behind it. So that was something that was surprising and that I learned more about that I enjoyed. Sort of until we did the 3 day one. That was a lot. Although I made it most of the way through. But I think the second part that kind of got me, oh, where is it? It was just there. That we worked on is just a lot of the kind of like meditations that we were kind of doing towards the end. And in the beginning and then in the middle too. Um, just to kind of again, I guess help me with my mental aspect and helping me to get in a better place to be able to do the work, I guess. Um, so I was like pleasantly surprised that again, I feel like I love that you kind of have like a holistic kind of like way of doing instead of like a lot of our regular doctors, it's like, oh, you have sperm health thing. We're just going to focus on your groin and be in that area. And that's like the only place we're going to like do anything. And you're like, no, we're going to, help you on um, your fitness, which is a goal you already have. And we can use that to help you build testosterone, which will help. And, we're going to help you with like, mental blockages and things like that. And I feel like that's important because in just modern medicine, it's very, we're going to give you like a pill, or we're going to just focus on the area that's having problem. And a lot of times it has to do with everything surrounding it and not just that one area. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you put it that way. And as you're speaking, I am curious to know, my like always talking point is talking about how stress impacts sperm health and how stress is something that is usually at the root of it and not being addressed. I'm curious to know, like, how was stress for you before us meeting and how that has evolved, how that evolved through our work together?
Yeah. I feel like, mm, I feel like I don't know if the stress has really changed much as far as like the amount, but I feel like one of the things is I do feel better because I have more nutrition and I'm getting, things. And when we were doing those, what is it, the metabolic tests, like throughout, or like on how I'm feeling, like I feel like because I was eating healthier in a way that worked better, like that I felt better. And so therefore that kind of helped me to stress less. Um, and again, I feel like dealing with you on like the meditations and things like that, that kind of helped me to like cope better. So yeah, I feel like I'm not necessarily having less stressors, but I feel better capable to like cope with them, the stress and things. Like I think one of the questions on the metabolic like test that you had us take was like, how are you able to like, I guess like what is it's like, how are you able to deal, or if something like makes you feel bad during the day, how quickly are you able to like come back and like bounce back from it? And I think that part of it is what I'm trying to get at, is like I may get stressed out now, but I can rebound from it a lot better because I feel healthier and I have certain meditations and things that I can do to like not trip.
And I love that. Like I love hearing that because I remember I was so what you're speaking to is I call it stress resilience, right? Like this life that we live in is very stressful. Like no amount of money like takes away from the stress that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm really happy to hear that you were speaking to, the amount of stress around me hasn't changed, but I have changed. Like how I respond to the stressful environment around me has really changed because it means that your nervous system can bounce back, can deal with your environment better, which means that your system is less stressed by it. It's like same amount of stress, but my system is less stressed by it. And every 2 weeks when you would fill out the metabolic score assessment form, and I would see the improvement. And I remember when you went, so when you came in, it was like, so out of a score of 100, you were like, I think in the 50s. And I was like, okay, that's how I know his system is really stressed. So let's work on it. And I want to say within a month and a half, 2 months, you jumped from, I think it was like 55 to like 80. And I was like, whoa. you know, and it's because you really dived into the work and you really did the work. And I think by the end, it was up to 84. In my mind, I was like, the goal for me was to get you to 80, and you surpassed that. You went from 50s to 84. And so I'm so happy that you spoke of it the way that you did, because that's exactly what I want is I can't change the amount of stress in your life. I can't. I wish I could, right? But I can help you and your nervous system regulate better, right? And be able to respond to it better so you're not feeling like crap all day long, because something happened.
Yeah, and when I think about it too, like I probably am more stressed now, or I have more stressors coming at me now because I started back school like a month ago. So yeah, that goes even more to your point. Like I actually have more things happening and it's just like, all right, I'm dealing with it. I'm
Yeah.
good. Got it.
I know. And when you started, in the back of my mind, I was like, ooh, because I think we all have this concern that when you got back into school, that it was going to throw everything off. And then I was like, okay, let's see. And then because we kept track of things so well, like your metabolic score assessment didn't go down. It actually maintained and then went up. So like you killed it. Like you just killed the whole thing though. Yes, yes, you like murked it. So it was such an honor to bear witness to your transformation. Such an honor. And I'm glad, we get to talk about the full experience because I get to kind of see where the pivotal moments were for you and what things, stood out for you and were made the difference for you. So I really appreciate you sharing your experience. Is there any last things you want to add or say before we end?
Um, no, just that I echo your sentiments. Like I really have enjoyed working with you. I kind of like sad because I'm just like, oh no, I don't get to see Dr. Duga every week anymore. um, yeah, and I am like gonna sing your praises, and if you ever need me to be like, hey, like Dr. Duga is the truth. She gonna get you in line. Like I'll definitely do that because yeah, I definitely enjoyed the time. I learned a lot. And I definitely am going to be taking things with me into the future, like my end of the year thing that came out of our fasting that I'm going to do every year to kind of reset. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Is that yeah, you're great, and I'm so glad that even though it was hard going through the process at certain points, especially at the beginning when like it was just a lot of things were like changing. I was like, oh my God, I have to track my food every day, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, write all this shit down. It's a lot of work. But it was worth it. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank